Okay, if you've gotten this far on your bumper, you're doing pretty good. You're going to find that doing these light holes is a real pain in the rear. Doesn't look that hard, but there's a whole lot of angles and everything to contend with, and it becomes a serious pain in the butt. So one of the things I would definitely recommend is, if you don't have them already, get some of these little magnetic helpers. Really makes life easier. Now on my tabs, for my lights and everything, I had to cut 3/4 of an inch off of the length of these to make it work for the LED lights that I'm putting in there. Over here I'm already done, and I'll show you how I squared things up on it. So first off, I measured from this plate to the mount. Those aren't perfect either. I mean, you're going to find every vehicle, nothing's perfect, but they try to get it as close as possible. So our mounts are the same way, and we're going to be about the same on everything else. There's a few things you can do. Basically, from with this corner right here lined up, we're fairly close to it. I measured to my mount, and then I measured up higher on my mount, and I found I got 4 3/8 on mine. So that gives me parallel on this plane, front to back on there. After cutting the down to fit my lights, I found that the little gussets that they give you after cutting 3/4 of an inch off are the perfect angle, that if you just line up this seam right here, that ends up keeping you parallel, perpendicular, whatever you want to call it, depends on the angle you're looking at it from, to the mounts, the frame of the vehicle, the bumper, everything. So with the little magnetic helper in there like so, to keep this at, after I've marked everything and jigged it up, which you need several sets of hands, I use a little magnet to hold it together, and I find again that this angle that they cut here, it doesn't matter which way you go, the corners line up perfect. So I just held it together with a magnet and then put it on the bench and tack welded those. Then after doing that, I just put it back in here and made sure I was pretty flush with this edge and tack welded on the opposite side of this plate to hold it in place. Now if you look, I don't know if you can see it on camera, I have a little bit of a twist here. It's not 100% parallel right there. I do have double checked with several squares that I'm still square here, and I'm recessed. It looks like I'm recessed down a little bit here, but if you take a flat edge, what I was doing was holding it tight to this plate and going down until it hit the fascia of the bumper. So that is on plane with the hole, even though it looks like it got a little groove here. I think the groove will be a good spot to run a bead and then grind it back smooth, and it'll look like it was formed that way. But if you want to double check even more, you can go off of here. Now I've got the off-road upgrade, so my center section's even thicker, so that kind of makes life a little difficult. But if you go on the same plane here, you got to kind of do some angles. I wasn't able to make a speed square work, so you got to use this. You see, if I tweak that just a little bit, it lines up perfect. And now if you look at when I do tweak that, look at this gap, how it's a little off in there, lines up perfect as well. I did that on both sets of lights here, in every direction, and found this is about as perfect as I can get it for being perpendicular, parallel, whatever you want to call it, as straight and true with the bumper and the vehicle as possible.